My mum was born in industrial Lancashire before the First World War in 1912. It was one of the richest parts of the world thanks to cotton, but that success came at the expense of factory workers, and my mum was one of them. Shortly before she passed away in 1994, she agreed to share some memories of her early life.
I was born in Blackburn, a place called Mill Hill. We lived in our house in a street facing Canal, and my dad worked at the other side at Canal, like facing where we lived. And he got work in Oswaldtwistle. And we moved, and we went in Reading Street in a house belonging to the works. And there were, then when we went there were two sisters, me and a brother. And then after, I had another brother born, and later on again, there were a brother and a sister born. And altogether there were 7 children, and my mum and dad, that were 9 of us altogether. There were our Phyllis, our Ethel, me, Anna, Fred, Jim, Tom and Ada, and my mum and dad. And we were all living up to war, and our Jim went up at Fort War and he didn't come back. We never got to know what happened. They tried to trace him, but we never got to know. We never knew. So there were 1 missing then, so there were 8 of us. We decided when we were more being born, as the house wouldn't be big enough. So we got one in a street called Hartley Street, just further down the road. But the bosses at the factory where my dad worked didn't like the idea of him moving, so they had it made bigger. There were big rooms, so they had a room divided. Girls were in big bedroom, and my mother and dad was in one of the small bedrooms, and lads. Well, and so we stayed in that house.
And you all had different jobs to do?
We all had different jobs to do. I went out, my mother went to clean in these offices next door, what belonged to a pit. So I used to go and help her to do that. The oldest sister, Phyllis, she did old shoes, and next sister, Ethel, she peeled 10 pound of potatoes every night. So then what jobs what we had to do.
Didn't the boys have any jobs?
The boys, no. No. Because, I mean, no, they didn't. Well, the eldest brother used to go and help me dad. He helped me dad, he was engine man. He used to run the engine for works in Ridding's Mill, in Reading Street, facing where we lived. So the eldest brother, he used to go nearly before he went to school, and that he used to go helping there.
The engine had to be...
Every month it had to be cleaned. Flues. It was what we used to call flue week, and they used to have to let fires out. Let them go down as far as they could while they cleaned all flues out, sashes and all that. And to get down to where this engine was, you had to walk down a narrow plank. And I used to go every day, taking my dad's dinner, he couldn't come home. So I used to go down this plank, and skirt stiff at times of falling. And the water to run the mill were in what we call Tinker Brook. And we had to, my dad used to have to go and walk this narrow bridge, only like a plank, and turn wheel to keep water to a certain level. And one time he had a terrible bad accident. He were doing a flywheel, what called flywheel, right big wheel, and strap had come off. So he were putting that strap on and it catched him. And he went round with it, and every time he went to the top he bumped his head. And they managed to run and stop the engine. Somebody who helped him with fires run and stop the engine for him. And we had him, mother wouldn't let him go to hospital, and we had him in bed, into the living room in Reading Street for a full 12 months, and she looked after him.
Why didn't she want him to go to hospital?
She just didn't want. She wanted to look after him herself, and she wouldn't let him go. He wouldn't be really right old. He wouldn't really be right old.
Did you think he was going to die?
I don't know. I don't think we ever thought about that, tell you the truth. But I know he were in a mess. He were lucky. He was really a lucky person. Everybody used to say that. I were a weaver at this mill where my dad worked, and we used to. It were a temperamental engine. It had run away. We used to say, run that fast, and your looms would be going like wildfire. And of course, we all used to stop, and manager would come in. And I used to get grumbled at for stopping them, my looms, because they said, you know, they never get it steady again if everybody stopped the looms. So manager come in and I used to have to set mine on, and then all the others that follow, you see. But
why did he pick on you?
Because he used to say, I ought to have more sense with my dad. There, that's all he used to say. You were a beggar. We used to have to do all the cleaning, sweep it looms, and I used to do it for a shilling. I'd sweep under anybody's looms for a shilling. I used to do that to make a bit of money.
Was it dangerous?
No, they were stopped. Well, while they were running a bit, you used to have to get your brush to do them proper. But when it come to doing hot floor, you had to stop them then. But some of them, they were beggars. They didn't like you stopping the looms, because if you stop your looms, your money was stopped. You see.
So you didn't get paid a wage. You only got paid for what you produced.
Yeah. Finishing up, I were learning to weave at the same time, you see, and that were just when you swept at Fridays, and I used to go in. We used to start about 7:30, and I used to go in about 6:30, sweeping under for people, turn a bit of money. Well, it used to be stopped then. I've learned girls to weave. I've learned them, and when you finish learning them, you got 10 shilling, and I used to get 10 shilling for learning them, and I'd be about a 3 week or a month. I did a lot of that.
Did you have to work all the time, or did you get
Oh no, you had an hour at dinner time, but if you wanted a drink of tea, you could brew up, and we used to have to walk outside at place, and it were like a pipe coming out of wall, hot water, and that's how we used to brew up for a drink, or anybody what stayed to dinner. Oh, and if you stayed to dinner and you took a cooked meal, my dad used to put them into boiler, into somewhere to keep them warm. He used to do that for him, for weavers and winders and what have you. He used to do that.
How long did you have for your tea break?
An hour.
No, for your tea
dinner.
break. You went out.
Oh no, you had to do that while your looms were running. You couldn't stop. If you stopped, your money would stop, you see. You could just sit down for 2 minutes, but you had to keep jumping up
Right, so it's the potato pies in the Sunday school.
All mothers used to make a potato pie, well, the majority of them, and they'd go across, one at young men, and bring them across. And we had a lot of them potato pie suppers and dancing, but it were only what I call Sunday school dancing, like waltzing, foxtrots, boyne dancing, veleta, slow foxtrot and waltzing and that. It were only very plain. You danced together, not jagging up and down like they do now. Oh no.
Did you get romantic though?
I don't know. We all used to go to Sunday school at church, and there were a few boys and girls, and we all used to go out together in like a group. And I thought I might have got married to one of them, but no, I didn't. He married somebody else. I was engaged 2 years, but I never could hit it off much with his mother. Oh, and the reason why I broke off was she wanted us, when we got married, to live with her, and no way was Annie doing that. And that's how we come to break it off.
Why didn't you want to live with her?
Oh, you don't want to know, do you? Oh, yes. Well, she would do. I was classed everybody like my mother. I mean, to say she were always up and down going for his drinking a jug. She used to like and had to go and live. They wanted me to go and live, and that's why I come to break it off, because I didn't want to go and live with you because she's a different way than what I was used to.
So, what was your mother like?
My mother didn't take a drink, but my dad worked every hour there were, and she used to go and get with jug and collect this pint, but not for herself, for my dad, because he were always at work. Whereas that other mother, it were for herself, you see. She used to sit drinking, and oh, I didn't like that.
So what kind of home life did you have with your mother and father?
Oh, lovely. Couldn't have had happier. Couldn't have been happier. We had a lovely mum and dad. My dad, he didn't bother. After we been to Sunday school, we all used to go out together, boys and girls, but we always had to be in at 10 o'clock at Sunday. And if we weren't, he'd be stood at bottom of Ridge Street, his watch in his hand, waiting for us. See how we come home, I think. He can't, honestly. When you think about it. But he was all right. He didn't stop us, but he liked us all to be in for 10 o'clock at Sunday, which really wasn't a bad time in them days. But we always had to go to Sunday school and church at night. Yeah.
What was your mother like?
Oh, I had a lovely mother. Oh, she were lovely. She were really a lady. Everybody got on right grand with her. She were, in her young days, she was a lady's maid. And she was, she were. She'd have gone bold if she knew I'd had you. If she'd have been living when you were born, she would have been thrown to bits. Because she always said, I come on to say, help other people. I were always one, if anybody were ill, it were always Annie. Our Annie'll come, or anybody, or relations. If anybody were ill, it were always me. And my mother always said, you've come on this earth to look after people. I don't think you'll ever have a family. And I come with you after she died. They always say a death, and then there's a birth. And I got you after. We're funny with that. She'd have been thrown to bits, especially a little lad. God, she thought she'd got everything when she had her with Fred. And she'd 3 girls, 3 daughters, but when she got her Fred, she thought she'd got everything. And then our Jim were born, and he was ailing. Well, he didn't think he would live. They put him in a drawer. It made a bed like, and put him in a, because they said he wouldn't last. But my grandma, my dad's mother, my grandma, her in them quarters, no way were she letting him, and it were through her as she got. They didn't think he would live. But she work with him, and she always had a soft spot for our Jim, because it were through her as he lived. And then you see, we never got to know the end of him. Mother were ill, and I were looking after her. And I went one day, and she said to me, "I've found our Jim. I've sorted it all out, and I've got so you can finish me knitting." That's how I come to be knitting. She was always knitting, and she said, like, ask me if I'd finish it off. And I did do, and then I went off it, but then I'm back again up knitting. And she said, I went one day, and she said, "I've sorted it all out." She said, "I've found our Jim." I said, and then she went to, no, she was restless, and I went up to the doctor's to see if I could have a tablet or something, just to ease her. I said, and he gave me one, I give it her, and she never woke up no more. I always blame myself for that. I said, but she found our Jim. She knew where he were. So when it were a warning with that, but I didn't know as she'd be. And she did. I gave her this tablet, and she went to sleep. She never woke up no more.
How long were you in that room with her?
About 4 hours. I were in 4 hours, sat outside, and then my dad come in, and I said to him, "Oh, Dad," I said, "my mother is quiet." I said, "She hasn't moved for 4 hours." Well, one look, and he got hold of her and shook her. If he could have shook her alive, he would have done. He would have done. Anyway, I had to go for a lady out at paper shop, a Mrs. Ashworth, and she said to me, she said, nobody could do anything. She's absolutely done out. She'd all collapsed, her eye, oh, hell, her eyes, her heart. She says, who'd have come, they couldn't have done anything for her. She's just done. And that's how, but if he could have shook her, he would have done. And he lived around about 5 years, but he never got over it, really. He missed her, and, well, they were very close, because, I mean, said they wouldn't have had all these children. But they were a lovely couple. I started going out with a girl called Evelyn, and we decided one Saturday evening we'd go up Ackett dancing. And we're going up, and this young man's coming down, and he just stopped, walked across to me, and said, "I'm taking you home tonight." I said, "Oh, are you?" And he did. We carried on. I think he were going. Don't know where he were going. He come back anyway, and he come for me for the last dance, last waltz. I said, "He was a lovely dancer, but I couldn't dance with him." And that's how I met my husband, Cyril, through that. And he never bothered about dancing no more. And I was only a Sunday school dancer. And we only went to see what it were like. And anyway, and Evelyn started going out with a boy I had been engaged to, and she got married to him. So, no.
Couldn't you have learnt how to dance?
You don't know that.
Why not?
Oh, you wanted to see me, he was light as a feather. Oh, you've no idea what he were like. Oh no, and he just dropped it like that. Never bothered no more about dancing. I thought he amazed me when he broke it all. It broke off dancing. Anyway, I got engaged to him and I married him at finish, and that's how I come. He just met me on the stairs and come across and said, I'm taking you home tonight. So I don't know, there must have been something what attracted him to, you know, and that's how we met. It's comical really when you think about it. Yeah, that's
Do you think he missed dancing?
No, he never bothered, no. No, if he'd have missed it, he'd have dropped me and gone dancing, no. He never went no more. No, he didn't. He never went no more. And as I said, my dancing was nothing. He was really light on his feet. And he could do all fancy steps. What they used to do, you know, he amazed me. I could dance. And that, and I went, I don't know how long I was going with him, and we got engaged. And then finally we got married. I worked with a young woman, and she went round collecting for Weavers' Union. And she said to me one day when she come, she said, that house is coming empty next to Weavers. Why don't you go see about it? And I did. And you could say I won it in a raffle, because there were 3 of us in for it. There were only me, not married, and they didn't know who to give it to. So they got 3 pieces of paper, and on one they wrote house, and it was picked it out of a bag, out of a hat, and I chose it, so I got the house. And it was 7 shilling a week, but when I went in, they put another 6pence on. And one of the ladies who didn't win it, she was really wild about it, because she said, you were not married. I said, no, I know, but I can get married. And I went and told my dad, and my dad went across to see it, and he said he couldn't get back to the factory quick enough to tell him what a house I got for that. So I did it, all that on my own. But your dad never bothered. I told him I got a house, and I told him all about it, and he was really pleased. And we decided then we'd get married. We didn't get married right away. We'd been saving up at bank, and then we decided we'd joint co-op, and we joint co-op, and all the furniture come from there, and used to get a right good divvy. And there were 2 suites coming, this uncut maquette and another like a velvet, you know, a velour or something like that. And there were 2 of us, and I first choice, well, I chose this, but the other young woman wanted it. But anyway, I got it because I don't know why. I got it because
that's the second raffle you've won then?
Yeah.
Where did you go on honeymoon?
We didn't tell them. Went straight to the house. Because, I think more or less we were on that, because we'd only 14 months together before he went up it for Thyme, and he were away 6 years. And then when we come home, we had holiday at Morecambe and that. Do I say it? That's when I come to be expecting. But I had a lovely mother-in-law. She were, and my mother always said to me, you look after, you're lucky to have a mother-in-law like you have, so look after her. And I did do. Because everybody in the family, if they were ill, always sent for Annie. And Annie used to go. Anyway.
What about the miscarriage?
Yeah, well, I was 17-year-old, the first person I went to look at. She had a miscarriage, did my auntie, and they sent for me to go, and it were late. In fact, I managed to get a bus to go down and then I had to walk up to where they lived, London Road. I don't know, I couldn't do it now, I don't know what it is. And I had to walk it up, and it was about 12 o'clock when I got there. Honestly, when I think about it, I'm in a fool.
Were you not frightened of being attacked?
Not then, not then. I mean, you couldn't do it now, but then, no. While we're on and we could go out, I've gone in, we used to, Elsie on Lloyd Street, we all used to meet in Elsie's house, Elsie or Hammond, and 12 o'clock we'd go home. We never rented out, but no, you couldn't do it now, no way.
So you looked after this woman with the miscarriage, and you looked after your mother-in-law as well.
Yeah, and looked after my own mother. Cyril's brother got married and lived with mother, but if she were ill, when mother started being not well, Marjorie wouldn't stop. She used to come out at work where I worked, and my brother used to let me go out because I worked under him, and he'd let me go out to look at him. And Cyril, my other brother, used to be blazing. They'd both be in bed, I'd be up all night with mother. When you think about it, and I couldn't ever. Willie used to be mad at your dad. It's wonder we weren't divorced.
In fact, there was no divorce. They were married for 47 years until Dad predeceased Mum by 5 years. Like so many other Lancashire ladies, she was tough and resourceful with a heart of gold. This video is dedicated to her memory.